But quickly, we managed 0.12% index return yesterday after we've seen a lackluster trading for a number of sessions since last week, where the key parameters for the stock market or the stock exchange is still in lackluster mode. We're still below the 27,000. The equity cap is still below the 13 trillion level. We need about 250 billion to take us back to that psychological level of 13 trillion naira. We lost 14 trillion long ago. So despite the numbers from the big banks, the banking sector was weak by 0.80%. In terms of the numbers, the primary market indicators, those big details or transactions from the Omoluabi mortgage finance company still there. But again, the market came in with 290.9 million ordinary shares in about 2,668 transactions for yesterday. The key 5 subsectors were in negative territory. Look at the Nigeria energy market, still largely unchanged. It's been unchanged for a number of sessions. So the energy market is showing just a window down 2.86% to 340 on the day. If you look at the NESD over the market, it just rolled that up. That was about 0.1%, showing a green, but then that's not enough to take the NSI back to 700 psychological reading. Finishing this off at the fixed income market, which you get a bit of a sense into yesterday's Naira bond auction by the Debt Management Office. That offering was overbought by 150 billion naira, 149.9, about 150 billion naira. The Treasury markets yesterday, and you could see among the four most actively traded, 10.51 discount high for treasuries maturing 14th of November 2019. We'll get a lot more into all of this when we return after the break. Adim Okwesa is a member of Financial Derivatives Company, economic think tank, and is here this morning with a very long list of burning economic issues. Some are local, others are external. We need to take a listen to this and watch how does it all impact you as consumers. Adim, good morning.
Good morning.
It looks like a very busy time for everyone.
It is.
And a lot's happening just around. And just overnight, the ease of doing business, I think, came in. Then the minimum wage that will have to be backdated to April, and the payment will have to be done before December. I see a lot of money there. Some folks say, Bosin, don't get too happy with inflation and all of that. It doesn't look like it's any serious value coming through there because of, well, if you had gotten the salary in April, the bag of rice back then was much cheaper. Today, your minimum wage of 30,000 gets you one bag of rice, and you get a 5,000 naira change left.
You get like 3,000 naira change, not even up to 5.
Not up to 5 anymore. The last time I was checking was 5 naira, 5,000 naira.
Now.
So if I get my November minimum wage, I get one bag of rice, then I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Which is very sad for most Nigerians. But it's the reality we face today.
I think there's a lot more in terms of the maybe that will go into your consumer confidence, which your team at FDC put together.
Yes.
Let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, we have a mixed bag of news today. First of all, Brent is down to $60.94. It crossed that psychological barrier of $60 per barrel. I think the biggest news that's come out of the oil market is that OPEC and its allies are discussing deeper production cuts.
I've stopped waking up at 4 a.m. and chasing Brent oil prices and Bloomberg. I just stopped because later I'll just behave whichever way it was. Then I'm just going to report it. I don't have sleepless night over this.
Yeah, but the fact that it's crossed 60 is significant. So I think
at least it was around 58, 59 since Monday.
Yes.
Now it's recovered a little bit to 60.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think something definitely has to be done with regards to curtailing supply, because demand, we all know demand is weak. Reports from OPEC, reports from the Energy Information Administration, international.
The U.S. inventory as well.
Yes, they're saying that demand growth in 2019, 2020 will be very weak, very slow. So to counteract that, OPEC needs to deepen their production cuts. So I think that is definitely what is going to happen in December.
Okay, there's a meeting. There's an oil. There's a monitoring committee meeting, OPEC monitoring meeting in November.
Yes.
Before their last meeting for the year in December.
Yep.
So maybe the monitoring committee meeting next month will make some recommendations, and then maybe that will be ratified by December general meeting in Vienna.
Yes, indeed.
Maybe.
Yes, so as more news continues to filter out, then that should drive our oil prices higher. That is the hope for us. Yeah.
But there's some good news from Russia with love. I want to put that.
Yeah,
That was an old title of an old movie.
Yeah.
So what is this collaboration Nigeria is securing? Ajaokuta was the big news I picked out of them. I'm sure that will electrify Nigerians, as it were.
Yeah, but there's no agreement yet. But what Russia and Nigeria are doing, they're discussing collaboration on repairing our refineries. Yes, we know our refineries are in a very dilapidated state. Install capacity of less than 5%. Yes, Dangote refinery is coming online in the early 2020s, but we have to know that it's a commercial operation. We don't know if he has a boiler plate capacity of 650,000 naira, which should meet Nigeria's needs. But it's a commercial operation. So there's a likelihood that a portion of that will be exported to neighboring countries, which of course fetch higher prices.
You expect. The gas guys are doing the same in the Niger Delta and all of that. You don't expect Dangote to do that refinery, 650,000 barrels per day and sell all that within Nigeria. He needs money.
But it is because like the incentive is there if you fetch higher prices in neighboring countries. So it's a business decision at the end of the day. So so I think it's prudent that the Nigerian government is considering renovating the existing refineries,
which are all government owned.
Yes.
Okay.
And we know once the refineries are fixed, then that subsidy issue will be taken out of the way. So
let's hope so. Let's hope there will be no excuse for keeping the subsidy or under recovery on the books. But you still have a lot more on these burning economic issues. The Russian-Nigeria trade is there, $1.1 billion. That's quite a small amount of money.
Yes, but the thing is skewed in Russia's favor. We only export about 145 million goods, whereas...
Now show me one trade that is not in foreigners' favor.
Whereas
I'm not sure there's any. I haven't checked. Every trade partnership we have is always in favor of the foreign economies, not in our favor, really.
Yes.
So when we say balance of trade, it's never balanced in our favor. And this is where, so it's never balanced, it's a balance of trade. It's never $1.1 billion. We're just doing about...
145 billion exports to Russia, whereas we import about 1.02...
We do $145 million.
Whereas we import 1.02 billion worth of goods from Russia, yes. Yeah. Okay. But maybe more agreement to be signed, more trade deals, which would enable us more exports, more goods. Yeah,
I think we just need to get our acts together at home.
Of course.
Simple.
Certainly.
Okay, where do we go next? The consumer confidence numbers for third quarter says consumers believe. If you go to the downers and the, I think this is one story. You folks believe that, yes, quarter on quarter, 68% to 3.8 points in Q3. That's according to central bank data. Nigerians are confident, consumers are confident about the future.
Yes, this is certainly good news, especially as we have seen just today, we have seen ease of doing business ranking improve. But in the last few weeks, we have seen a flurry of bad news. Inflation increased, manufacturing index declined, GDP growth slowed. So it's certainly a breath of fresh air that we're seeing a flurry of good news coming into the market. Yes, consumers are certainly confident about the Nigerian economy in the next 12 months. So that should be positive. And with that, when consumers are confident, they'll spend more, they would do more business activities, do more commercial activities, so that would definitely be good for the economy.
Maybe the 30,000 minimum wage, categorized 30 minimum wage would help in this area. I'm not too sure.
Yes.
A cash in hand is always a cash in hand.
Yes, of course.
Whichever way you look at it, whatever value it fetches you, even an additional loaf of bread, whatever that is. But again, if you look at the downers, the stock market keep getting into your list at Financial Derivatives Company because this is below the belt, a negative 20.4%, one of the worst.
Yes, 52-week return of negative 24.4%, like you said, one
of the worst in Sub-Saharan Africa.
Exactly. So, but To counteract that, we've seen an increase in foreign investor transactions on the NSE in September. That is expected to continue. So with more foreign investors coming to the markets, that should, maybe they would buy more equities, and that should lift the index and reverse this lackluster performance we've seen throughout this year, really.
The flip side of the foreign portfolio investors is the local one. And I was seriously disappointed in the September stock exchange report that shows that retail investors, what they did in September was just about 100 million.
Yes.
Out of what foreign portfolio investors are doing in double-digit billions of naira. That means that whatever conversation we're having, investors, local investors, and also are not buying so aggressively into the stock markets.
Yes, there's been a dearth of good political and economic news until now, until this week. So that is why certainly retail domestic investors are just maintaining tentative positions. They're just holding back, selling, because there's nothing really to buy in now. Stock prices are declining. But I think now that prices are at extreme lows now, that is a good entry opportunity.
Well, you talked about consumer confidence earlier. How do we balance that out with my investment appetite if I've got to fix a bag of rice at 25 plus 1,000 of naira? I don't know. So, because then I have a bag of rice, but I need vegetable oil to prepare it one way or the other, whether it is fried or jollof, whatever that is. So I don't know. If you want to add that to the conversation,
yes,
I don't know.
Especially as well, Christmas is coming. Vegetable oil is a popular product, especially during the Christmas period. So yes, it is. And the thing about Nigeria as well, we're blessed with the oil-bearing seeds from soybeans, groundnuts, kola nuts, sesame seeds, soybean, peanuts, palm kernel. We all produce all those seeds. So we produce a lot of vegetable in this country, and vegetable is one of those products that Nigerians actually prefer to the imported ones. There are a lot of good quality homemade vegetable oil produced in Nigeria. So that is certainly a good thing for Nigeria. Vegetable oil is used for cooking.
I've seen some brands on the shelves.
Yes.
And they're all indigenous.
Yes.
And with all the advertisement, they're much healthier for my heart, your heart, than imported ones. So it looks like this is beginning to gain some ground, as it were. Of course, it's on the 41 items, I'm sure.
Yes. So that has actually added to this domestic. People are producing more domestically, yes. So, and what I've noticed is that people are shifting towards the healthier options like olive oil, canola oil, soybean oil. Yes, those are becoming more and more popular in the market. And in terms of the price dynamic, the price of vegetable has quadrupled in over the past 20, 30 years, driven mainly by a surge in demand from the likes of China and Asia. There's also another form of demand that has emerged for vegetable in recent years, and that is biodiesel fuel. In line with this shift towards renewable sources of energy, people are using vegetable oil for biodiesel. So that's essentially driving the demand and driving the price of vegetable oil. In terms of, we consume about 1 million tons of vegetable oil every year, but that is still below what is required. Demand still exceeds supply. We have a supply shortfall of about 300,000 tons.
Yes, I'm looking into the fry pan here that palm oil is about 53.3.
Yes.
Soybean is 41.6. So palm oil is still in great contention.
It's still popular, but that's we're seeing that shift. And if you look at that table, we're seeing healthier options like sunflower, soybean, olive gain a greater proportion.
Yes.
So in that trend will continue. People will shift away from palm oil, which is high cholesterol, high fat. People will shift to the healthier options: soybean, sunflower, canola, and so on and so forth.
Okay, I don't mind. I don't mind, but as long as I take a look at what you folks put together, it looks like a very nice one for me to do with vegetable oil. Whichever way, all this costs money. And the bottom line is, what is the minimum wage, and where do folks go from here? Thank you, Adim.
Thank you.
Let's check in with you sometime in the future, very near future. A member of the economic think tank at Financial Derivatives Company, bringing everyone up to speed where we are on the consumer market and commodities markets.